Caleb Walker lived alone on his ranch for many years. After his wife died, he stayed away from people. He liked the quiet life. His ranch was far from town, deep in the wild lands of Wyoming. The hills were dry and empty. The wind was his only visitor most days. Every week, Caleb rode out to check his land. He looked after his cattle and made sure no wild animals or strangers came too close. He knew these lands well. Every rock, every tree, every sound, nothing surprised him. Until that one afternoon. The sun was bright and hot. The sky was empty. Caleb rode his horse, Dusty, through a narrow canyon he had passed many times before. But this time something new caught his eye. Far ahead, something was sitting on the ground. At first it looked like a large stone. But as Caleb rode closer, he saw it was a person. His heart beat faster. A girl, alone, sitting in the middle of nowhere. Caleb slowed his horse and studied the scene. The girl looked young, maybe 16 or 17. She was sitting cross-legged on the dry ground, her back resting against a huge rock. Heavy iron. Chains wrapped around the rock and bound her wrists. The chains were thick, strong, and shiny in the sun. Whoever did this had planned it carefully. Her dress was torn, but strangely clean. Her long blonde hair was neatly braided. But the strangest thing was her face. She was smiling. Not a scared or weak smile. A bright, wide smile. Like she was happy to see him. Like she had been waiting for him. Caleb felt a chill run down his spine. This didn't feel right. Nobody should be smiling while chained like that. He stopped his horse about 30 feet away. He didn't want to get too close too fast. His hand rested on his rifle, ready for anything. The girl looked up at him. Her green eyes were sharp and calm. She didn't cry, she didn't shout for help, she simply smiled. "Hello?" she said softly. Caleb cleared his throat. "Are you all right, miss?" The girl tilted her head a little. "You're not who I thought would come." Her words confused him. He looked around the empty land. No one else was there. No footprints, no horses, no wagons. Just empty desert and dry wind. "Who were you expecting?" Caleb asked, his voice firm but careful. She smiled, wider, someone who would not stop to help. Now Caleb was even more uneasy. This girl was not like anyone he had met before. Most people in her situation would cry or beg, but not her. She was too calm, too sure. He dismounted from his horse slowly. His boots crunched on the dry ground as he walked a little closer. He kept his eyes moving, looking for any signs of danger. The girl watched him quietly. She didn't move. The chains around her wrists looked new and strong. The metal was clean, not rusty. This wasn't an accident. Someone had done this on purpose. "How long have you been here?" Caleb asked. "Long enough," she answered simply. "Who did this to you?" She paused for a moment, her smile still in place. "Men who are very good at what they do." Caleb's stomach tightened. He didn't like the sound of that. The sun beat down on them both, but Caleb felt a cold sweat forming on his back. "They are coming back," she added in a quiet voice. Caleb looked around again. The land was still. Only the wind moved the dry grass, but he felt like someone was watching. "Why would they do this to you?" he asked. The girl's eyes sparkled as she spoke. "Because they knew someone like you would find me." That made Caleb freeze for a moment. How did she know what kind of man he was? How did she know he wouldn't just ride away? "You know my name?" he asked carefully. She nodded slowly. "Caleb Walker. You live alone, 8 miles north of here. Your wife passed away 3 years ago. You ride this trail every Wednesday." Caleb's heart pounded harder. How could she know all of this? His hand moved closer to his rifle again. "Who told you all this?" he asked, his voice now sharper. "They did," she answered softly. "The ones who chained me here." Caleb stepped back, looking around once more. This was not a normal rescue. Something strange was happening, something dangerous. The girl's smile never faded. "They knew you would not leave me here, Caleb. That's why they sent me." Caleb's mind was racing now. He had a choice to make: walk away and stay safe, or help her and risk everything. The dry wind whispered through the canyon as Caleb stood there staring at the strange girl chained to the rock, her bright smile still shining under the hot desert sun. Caleb Walker stood still, staring at the girl chained to the rock. Her calm smile was strange. The dry wind blew across the empty canyon, making the only sound in that silent place. Caleb's heart beat faster with every second. He was not a man who trusted easily. But leaving a young girl chained like this was not something he could do. He was a man of honor, even if no one was watching. The girl kept watching him, her green eyes sharp, like she was studying him. She did not beg for help. She did not cry. She sat there as if she had full control of the situation. Caleb slowly moved closer. His hand stayed near his gun. The sun above them burned hot, but his skin felt cold. "What's your name?" Caleb asked softly. The girl tilted her head. "Does it matter?" "It matters to me," Caleb replied, his voice steady. She paused for a moment. Then she said, "Lily. You can call me Lily." Caleb nodded. "All right, Lily. I'm going to get these chains off you." Lily watched him closely. "You shouldn't." Caleb frowned. "Why not?" Her smile faded a little, but her voice stayed calm. "Because they left me here for a reason. And if you free me, you'll be in danger too." Caleb's hand touched the cold iron of the chains. "Danger from who?" Lily looked toward the horizon. The empty land stretched out far in every direction. "The men who did this, they are coming back soon." Caleb looked around. There was no sign of anyone. Just empty desert. But deep in his gut, he felt it. She was telling the truth. "Why would they do this? Why chain you here?" Caleb asked. "They knew someone like you would find me," she answered. "Someone kind. Someone who couldn't walk away." Caleb shook his head. "Why me? Why not someone else?" Lily smiled again, but this time it was smaller. "Because they know everything about you, Caleb Walker. They know you live alone. They know you ride this trail every week. They know you lost your wife 3 years ago." Caleb's mouth went dry. His heart pounded harder. "How do they know so much?" "They've been watching you for a long time," Lily said softly. "They knew you would come." Caleb's mind raced. This was a trap. But still he could not leave her like this. Even if it was a trap, she was still a prisoner. Caleb pulled a small tool from his vest pocket. It was a simple lockpick. He had used it many times before to fix old locks on the ranch. Lily watched him work. "You're very skilled with that." Caleb did not reply. His hands were steady, but his mind was filled with questions. Who were these men? Why did they want him? After a few minutes, the first lock clicked open. The chain loosened from Lily's wrist. Red marks and bruises showed where the metal had rubbed her skin. Caleb reached for the second lock. But suddenly Lily's hand shot out and grabbed his. Her grip was strong, far too strong for a girl her size. Caleb froze. He looked up and met her eyes. For a moment, her smile disappeared. Behind her calm face, he saw something dark. Not fear, not gratitude, but something else. Something cold and sharp. "You should leave me here," she whispered. "Now. Before, it's too late." Caleb pulled his hand back, surprised by her strength. "Why do you keep saying that? What kind of game is this?" Lily sat back, her smile returning, but it was different now. Forced, tired. "It's not a game. It's a warning." Caleb's eyes narrowed. "Who are you really, Lily?" She looked at him for a long moment. Then she said quietly, "I'm someone who got caught up in something bigger than me." Caleb didn't like that answer. But he had already started this. He couldn't stop now. He leaned forward again and worked on the second lock. After a few tense moments, it too clicked open. The chain fell away from her wrist with a heavy sound. Lily rubbed her wrists but didn't move to stand. "Come on," Caleb said, standing up. "We have to leave before your men come back." She looked up at him with serious eyes. "You have A ranch, don't you? Yes, Caleb answered carefully. They'll go there first. Caleb's stomach twisted. Why? They want something from you, Lily said softly. And they know where to find you. What do they want? Caleb asked. They want what's buried on your land, she replied. Caleb's heart sank. He had no idea what she meant. Buried? What could possibly be buried on his land? As the sun lowered in the sky, Caleb helped Lily to her feet. He looked at the endless desert around them, knowing they had little time. We need to move fast, he said. Yes, Lily whispered. But they're already closer than you think. The dry wind howled through the canyon as they hurried toward Caleb's horse. The real danger was only beginning. The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across the dry land. Caleb rode his horse carefully, with Lily sitting behind him. The silence between them was heavy. Caleb's heart beat fast. His mind was full of questions, but he didn't know where to begin. Lily held onto him gently, her head low. She still wore that strange, soft smile. But there was something behind it, something he couldn't understand. Fear, pain, or something even darker. As they reached the hills leading toward his ranch, Caleb finally spoke. Lily, tell me everything. I need to know the truth. Lily stayed silent for a few moments. The wind whispered through the dry grass. Then, in a quiet voice, she said, They are watching us. Caleb looked around. He saw nothing but dry hills and empty sky. But now every shadow seemed to move. Every rock looked like a man waiting to strike. Who are they? Caleb asked. They are dangerous men. They work for someone powerful. Lily said, They chained me there to catch you. But why me? I have nothing they want, Caleb said, confused. Lily sighed. You have land, Caleb, and under your land is something valuable, very valuable. Caleb frowned. I've lived on that ranch for years. I've seen nothing but dirt and rocks. She shook her head. It's hidden deep underground. They believe it's still there. Gold. Or maybe something even more precious. Caleb's stomach turned. That's crazy. But Lily's voice stayed calm. They will kill you to get it. The words felt like ice in Caleb's chest. He had lived, alone for years. He had fought storms, sickness, and wild animals. But this was different. This was human evil. The sun finally disappeared behind the hills. Darkness wrapped around them like a heavy blanket. Caleb pushed Dusty to move faster. They had to reach the ranch before it was too late. By the time they arrived, the moon was high. The ranch was quiet. The old wooden house stood strong against the night. The horses in the stable neighed softly. Caleb helped Lily down from the horse. She stumbled a little but kept her balance. You can stay inside, Caleb said, opening the door for her. Lily stepped inside and looked around. The house was simple but clean. A wooden table, a few chairs, and a fireplace filled the main room. Caleb kept everything neat since his wife died. You live here alone? Lily asked, her voice softer now. Yes, Caleb answered, since my wife passed away. I'm sorry, she said, and for the first time her smile faded. A flash of sadness crossed her face. For a brief moment she looked like a normal girl, scared and tired. Caleb lit a lantern and placed it on the table. You can rest here. I'll keep watch. Lily sat down but did not relax. She kept glancing at the windows. Caleb noticed. They won't come tonight, Caleb said, trying to sound sure. But deep inside, he wasn't sure at all. Hours passed. The clock ticked loudly in the quiet room. Caleb sat near the window holding his rifle, eyes fixed on the dark hills outside. He thought of everything Lily had told him. Why would men want his land? Who were they? And how did they know so much about him? Behind him, Lily spoke again. Caleb, they know your house. They know your land. They know you. Caleb turned. How? They studied you for months. They watched you ride into town. They know your habits, your trails, your losses. They even knew you would stop to help me. Caleb's face darkened. And you? How do you know all this? Lily's eyes lowered. Because I was one of them. Before. The words hit Caleb like a slap. His grip on the rifle tightened. I didn't have a choice, she continued. They forced me to help them. But when I tried to leave, they chained me to that rock. I was bait. Caleb stared at her, his heart torn. Should he believe her? Was she telling the truth? Or was this another part of their trap? I don't want to hurt anyone, Lily whispered. But they will come for you, Caleb. And when they do, they won't show mercy. Suddenly, the horses outside neighed loudly. Caleb jumped to his feet. He rushed to the window. In the moonlight, he saw shadows moving at the edge of his property. They're here, Lily whispered. Caleb's chest pounded. Stay low. Don't move. He blew out the lantern, leaving the room dark. Only the moonlight lit their faces faintly. Caleb loaded his rifle, his hands steady, but his mind racing. The fight for his life, and maybe hers, was about to begin. Caleb and Lily rode quietly through the dry land. The sun was sinking behind the hills, painting the sky orange and red. The wind was soft, but Caleb felt no peace. His mind was heavy with worry. Lily sat behind him on Dusty, holding onto his waist. Her face was calm, but her eyes stayed sharp, watching everything. Caleb did not trust her fully, but he had no choice. He had freed her, and now they were tied together in this strange, dangerous game. As they neared the ranch, Caleb looked around carefully. His ranch was far from anyone. No one came here unless they had a reason. Now he feared that dangerous men were already waiting. Do you see anything? He asked softly. Lily shook her head. Not yet, but they are close. Caleb frowned. How do you know? They don't let their prey escape easily, she said, her voice steady. Finally, they reached the ranch. The small wooden house stood alone, surrounded by dry grass and a few broken fences. The barn was empty, the animals long put away for the evening. Caleb dismounted and helped Lily down. We'll stay inside tonight, he said. Lock the doors and windows. Lily nodded, but her eyes kept scanning the distance. Inside, Caleb locked everything. He loaded his rifle and placed a shotgun near the door. The oil lamp flickered, casting long shadows on the wooden walls. Sit, he told Lily, pointing to the small table. She sat quietly, folding her hands on the rough surface. Caleb sat across from her. Tell me everything, Lily. Who are these men? Why do they want my land? She looked at him, her green eyes serious. The men work for a powerful man named Grayson. He believes there is silver hidden beneath your land. Caleb's eyes widened. Silver. I've lived here for years. I've never seen any silver. They think you are lying, or you just don't know, Lily said softly. Either way, they want you gone. Caleb's jaw tightened. So they used you as bait. Lily nodded. Yes. They chained me, knowing you would find me and help. Caleb shook his head in disbelief. How do they know so much about me? They have spies, Lily answered. People in town who watch and report back. Caleb leaned back, rubbing his tired face. This was worse than he thought. How many are coming? 4 men. They are trained, armed, and cruel, Lily said. They don't care who they hurt. Suddenly, Dusty neighed loudly outside. His ears stood straight, sensing danger. They're here, Lily whispered. Caleb jumped up, grabbing his rifle. Get down, he ordered. Lily slid to the floor, hiding behind the table. Caleb moved to the window, peeking outside. Shadows moved near the barn. The men were here. The first shot came fast, shattering the window. Glass flew everywhere. Caleb ducked quickly, his heart pounding. They mean business, he muttered. A voice shouted from outside. Caleb Walker, come out now and we won't burn your house. Caleb gritted his teeth. Lying snakes, he whispered. Another voice called louder. We just want the girl. Hand her over and we'll let you live. Lily looked up at him, fear flashing in her eyes. Don't believe them, she said quickly. If you give me to them, they'll still kill you. Caleb nodded. I know. The shooting started again. Bullets hit the wooden walls, making small holes everywhere. The oil lamp fell and broke, the fire quickly catching on the dry floorboards. Fire! Lily cried. Caleb grabbed a blanket and smothered the flames quickly. We need to move, he said. He led Lily to the back door. Quietly, they slipped outside, staying low. The night was dark now, the moon hiding behind clouds. We'll go to the barn, Caleb whispered. They ran fast, hearts racing. Bullets whizzed past them, but they made it to the barn safely. Inside it was dark and quiet, smelling of hay and old wood. They won't stop until they have us, Lily whispered, her voice shaking. Caleb loaded his rifle again. Then we fight. Suddenly, footsteps came close. The barn doors creaked open. A man stepped inside, holding a pistol. His face was hard, his eyes cold. There you are, he sneered. Before the man could shoot, Caleb fired first. The man dropped to the ground without a sound. We have to leave now, Caleb said, pulling Lily toward the back. But two more men blocked the rear door. Caleb fired again, hitting one, but the other shot back. The bullet grazed Caleb's arm, making him stumble. Lily screamed, grabbing a pitchfork from the corner. She swung it at the man, hitting him hard and knocking him down. Caleb quickly took the man's gun. Breathing hard, Caleb looked at Lily. You fight well, he said, surprised. I had to learn, she replied. Suddenly they heard horses approaching. It was the sheriff and his men, finally arriving. The last man, seeing the lawman, dropped his gun and raised his hands. It's over, Caleb whispered, sinking to the ground, holding his bleeding arm. Lily knelt beside him, her face filled with relief. You saved me, she said softly. No. Caleb smiled weakly. We saved each other.